Hey everybody, so welcome back to Jim Bob's Garden. So today what I want to do is go ahead and plant a tomato. I want to show you this. So this is an old shop vac that I had that died. And when the shop vac died, I'm like, man, I got to throw it away. Basically the motor died on it. So I had to go buy another one. But what I did is, you can see on the bottom there, I've cut with a drill 5 holes for drainage. And I'm thinking that this will be a perfect planter for a winter tomato. Alright, so what I got here is a tomato cutting. It was one of the sucker branches on my neighbor's tomatoes. It's actually an Acres Plum tomato, which he says is like a really good tomato. But this shop vac bucket is right at 5 gallons. Most people around here will grow tomatoes in 5-gallon buckets because of the fact that you have a problem with rooting out nematodes. Now I have tried to get rid of them, and I usually grow my tomatoes out there, but this one's going to be a winter tomato. So the plan is to try and keep it growing until it starts to get cold out, and then I'll put it in my greenhouse and see if I can keep it alive long enough to actually produce some tomatoes. Alright, so what we're going to do after we take this bucket, which, hey, reuse, man, reuse what you can. I'm going to take and I'm going to fill this up with my dirt. Now what I have here is a mixture of compost and a little bit of potting soil. It's pretty much about 3/4 compost. And we're going to take a lot of this, put it in there. Now you can do this with just about any bucket. You can reuse pretty much any plastic container, really. Like this is an old shredder bottom. Basically the bottom part of the shredder. Once again, the shredder died a few years back, and so what I've done is I've cut some holes in the bottom of this, and I'm going to plant something in it. I just don't know what yet. But you know, reuse where you can. I'm going to set that in about that deep. Yeah, my neighbor is also doing a lot of gardening. Man, and I want you to know, this is about 2 weeks. Maybe 3 tops. And look at all the roots that came out of that. And all that's just from a cutting that was cut off of his tomato and then just stuck in some compost to allow it to grow. So we're going to set that down in there. And remember, with tomatoes, you can bury them deep. You just want to keep that lowest branch, whatever that might be or wherever that might be, out of the dirt, or cut it off. Now this one I'm going to let it grow. Because this doesn't have a lot of branches, and I want to get as much sunlight to it as possible since we're heading into the shorter days. So the more leaves, at least my theory is, the more leaves you got, the more it'll produce. Just take your soil, pack it in around. You want to push down a little bit, but don't like pack it real hard. Now I have grown tomatoes inside of my screen patio before without an issue. And a lot of people might think that you need pollinators to pollinate your flowers. Now I have a few bugs in my patio, my screened-in pool, but not a lot. Probably not enough to really pollinate things, but yet every year I've done this, I've managed to get tomatoes. Now I will say that normally speaking, I do cherry tomatoes. But these are a plum tomato, so they're going to be smallish. And I will tell you, my daughter had a tomato. It was a kind of like a plum tomato, but more of a Roma tomato that she grew over at her house over by the beach here in Jacksonville, and it never froze, so it continued producing all year round. So I'm hoping that that's what's going to happen here. And one of the beauties of this particular thing is it's on wheels. So when it comes time to roll it in, I'll just roll it in up close to the house so it'll stay warm enough, or I'll put it out in the greenhouse. But either way, it makes it a lot more portable by doing this. And then I'm going to grab a tomato cage and put a tomato cage on it. Now you can do this a couple different ways. Your tomato's going to need support one way or the other. You can use what I'm going to do, which is a tomato cage, or you can take a long stick and just push that down into the dirt and then tie the tomato up off of that. It seems to me on the pots when I'm moving them that the tomato cages tend to be a little more secure and tend to hold the plant a little more solidly. Because I will be moving this around, and I think that will stand up a little better when it comes to keeping the plant from falling as I move it. Alright, so there you go, and this is a, what do you say, Acres plum tomato. So we're going to see how it does, and hopefully I'll have tomatoes all winter long. Alright. I know it's a short one, but thank you anyway for stopping by. Do me a favor, give me a like and a subscribe. Show it to your friends and give it a shot, man. I mean, you can grow tomatoes, especially if you have a sunny room that gets a lot of sun, like a south-facing window, which I do not really have here. I've only got some in the bedroom and really don't have room for them, room to plant plants in it. But if you have south-facing windows, or even a west-facing window, though I don't know if it'll get enough sun there, you can plant them inside. If you have a small greenhouse, you can plant them in a greenhouse, or you can put them outside, and if it's got wheels on it or it's easily movable, you can bring it in when it's cold here in Jacksonville, because we don't get a lot of cold weather, and then just put it back out again once it warms back up. Alright, so once again, thanks for stopping by, and y'all have a great day, and most importantly, grow something.